Hey people, I thought I'd make a video here of some recent, pretty impressive vintage camera and photo equipment finds at a couple local Goodwills, and stuff I'm going to show you. Some of it is bona fide, really, valuable collector stuff. Most of it is like what I would call, good user stuff. It just needs some minor reconditioning, things like the light seals on a couple of these, although I have redone light seals on a couple of these cameras already, but I haven't shot a test roll of film with them. And I think what I'll show you first, this is basically, I got this camera for free because I had like a $5 coupon. um, and the camera was pretty much, I don't think the lens was on it. I think the lens was like off it, but I quickly surmised that the lens came with the camera, so I put it on. It didn't have a price on it. Didn't have a lens cap, but luckily the lens was not, the glass was not damaged, although the lens barrel edge has like a little dent, so I can't really screw filters on it, but still a pretty impressive camera here. A real classic Canon, and it's black too, very cool. It's a Canon FTB, which is a match needle uh, mechanical manual camera, 35mm SLR, obviously. And like I'll show you, it wasn't this clean when I bought it. I mean, I've initially cleaned it up, not as thoroughly as I usually will. I mean, I'll do maybe some touching up. It has a little bit of wear, what they call brassing here on some of the edges. Or I might just leave that, I don't know. Excuse me. But the only real minor things are, like I said, there's a little bit of a dent here, so it's not perfectly round. And then when I look through the viewfinder, there's some little, I don't know, some adhesive stuff or whatever that's in the viewfinder. But it doesn't really affect my ability to focus, so you can see that in there. I don't know if I could take this camera apart and clean that out, but you know, this is, you can get for powering the meter, you can get hearing aid batteries, and I have like these little. There's an eBay seller in Japan who makes like these little, like they're like little aluminum, they're like bowls or whatever, that are they're the same size and profile of the old style mercury batteries that these cameras take, and you can take a modern hearing aid battery of the same, which is the same voltage, and use these, and it works perfectly. The meter works perfectly, and I already tested that. I haven't shot a film with this one. Um, it does need the light seals redone. Maybe I'll show you. Whoops. Um, but that's usually a problem with these older cameras. You have to redo that, and that material sometimes sticks to the edge of the door here. You got to really clean that out. There's different things for light seals. You can buy kits of the foams. Same thing with the mirror bumper in the inside the behind the lens there. Or you can like use I've done this too. In fact, I'll show you another camera where I've done this. You can take a 3-gauge cotton yarn, and that's the perfect size for gluing in the grooves here, the valleys or whatever, and that makes a really nice light seal there. So that's the Canon FTB, great manual match needle meter SLR. It would be perfect like a student camera if they're taking photography, and the instructor usually you have to learn with a film camera the basics, and this is the type of camera they usually want you to have. Another great camera, which I don't have it in this video, is like the older Nikkormats, like the FTN or the FT2. If you know what those are pretty much exactly like this camera here. So that's the Canon FTB there for basically, it was like $5, if you can believe that. Um, Next camera I'll show you. This is kind of an offbeat one. This is what I guess my research. This is like the first Mamiya 35 millimeter SLR. Mamiyas were more known for their medium format equipment, but they did make some 35 millimeter stuff here. This is called the Mamiya CWD, and I've cleaned it up. The lens I had, this is not the lens that came with this camera, and I found this at a Goodwill for I think it was like 10 or 12 bucks or something. But the lens that was on here was not good. The iris or whatever, the aperture blades were not. They were like sticking or something, or they weren't stopping down, or whatever. So I ended up buying this lens very reasonably cost at on eBay, and I think I only paid maybe 35 bucks, and this is in excellent shape. I haven't shot a film with this one yet. I believe I did do the light seals with it, so it does. In fact, I did, and now I recall I do have a film in here, and I haven't started shooting with this. It came with this case. I don't have but it didn't come with the cover. Just this part of the case. I did buy this strap though, so this. And maybe one of the drawbacks of this camera, it does have a meter, but the meter is here. It's not in the through the lens, and but it should be great camera though. Great user camera there. So that's the Mamiya CWD. Okay, what's next? This is one, and I'll show you quickly. This is one where I did fix the light seal and clean this one up. I haven't shot a film with this one yet. This is an older. It's actually a camera made by Minolta, but Minolta also made this camera for Ansco, and this is the Ansco set 2. It's a 35 millimeter rangefinder type camera. It has a selenium meter that works. In fact, this one does works perfectly. And I've cleaned this one up nicely too. I haven't shot a film with it yet. This came with it, but it didn't come with a cover either. I thought maybe I was combing the shelf or whatever at Goodwill, and they didn't. For some reason they didn't have the cover of it. But just to show you quickly, a camera like this has a relatively simple light seal, and maybe if you can see that in there, you can see in the grooves. I think maybe you can see maybe that there's like what looks like a long piece of yarn, and then on the door here, maybe you can see that there's like there's like a piece of felt there. You can buy something called Presta felt at like a craft store, and you can cut these pieces to whatever size you want, and they have an adhesive backing, and they're the right thickness or whatever. They make the perfect kind of end seal there, door seal. So that's the Ansco set 2 there, rangefinder camera, and I think I found this for like 10 or 12 bucks too. So we look forward to using that. Looks like to be very easy to use kind of camera there. Next one, this is a little more modern camera, and in fact I found this, and I found a flash unit later. Although the case I'm going to show you, I bought this case off of eBay for another camera, which funny, it wasn't really the right case for this other camera, but it is the right case for this one. It seems to it fits this camera perfectly. But the lens on this camera I bought separate, or it came with another camera. But anyway, this is a more modern one. This is a Minolta X9. It's probably from the late 1980s. It's more kind of like plastic construction, although it has a very quality feel to it. The light seals look to be pretty good. Um, I didn't have to do any repairs on that. In fact, they look like they're brand new. Same thing with like the mirror bumper, which is inside the behind the lens there. I do have a battery in this, but the functions, everything appears to work. I don't have a film in this yet, so be looking forward to trying this one out. That's the Minolta X9 there. More modern camera there. With that, another thing I found, which was probably came with that Canon FTB, I found this. This is like you find these a lot too if you look at old photo equipment. These are like these. It's like what they call a Tele Extender. It takes basically your a basic 50mm lens and it turns it basically into like a 90 or a 100mm lens. It has elements in there, and it basically you put your regular lens, your 50mm on the end, and then this goes into the body. So that's kind of a cool accessory to have there. That way you still have like the speed of your prime lens, but you have more of a nice telephoto there. So that's a little Tele Extender. To go with that Minolta that I just showed you, I found this flash unit, and this is actually a correct one. It's this Minolta Auto 132X. It's what they call a dedicated flash. So it has, you can see, it has like two different contacts. It is dedicated to that camera, that Minolta that I just showed you. So basically, you don't have to figure out. Although it does have some calculating wheel or whatever. But you don't have to do any fancy distance calculations or whatever. It's like it sets the camera automatically for the right shutter speed and things, exposure there. And I think I paid, usually I've been finding flash units for like, less than like $6-7. Usually they're more like $5.99, whatever. So that's the Minolta flash. What I'm going to show you last, this is probably, I mean, a lot of people there's always that myth that you're going to find a really valuable camera for next to nothing, and sometimes people do. Sometimes, I'll never, you will not find maybe a Leica M3 or something, but I did find something that was pretty darn close. But I'm going to show you the camera, and then I'm going to show you some accessories I bought on eBay to go with the camera. But the actual camera, I mean, it was pretty dusty, and unfortunately it didn't have a lens cap, and the lens, I had to like try to clean the lens as best I could without damaging it. I think there were some cleaning marks in it, but anyway, what I'm going to show you is the first Nikon rangefinder camera to be widely imported into the US, and it's the Nikon S. And I found this at the glass case at Goodwill for the princely sum of $10, believe it or not. What I'm going to show you, like I said, I've extensively cleaned it, and what I have now, I do have a filter on this and a lens cap, but basically this is it. This is it right here. That's the Nikon S. This comes off, the back comes off. I haven't shot a film with this yet. I'll probably try like black and white. It has kind of, the only drawback is these early Nikon rangefinders has this really small kind of viewfinder, small window there, small viewfinder, small rangefinder window. Took off the lens cap. I did buy this filter, UV filter there. Maybe I'll take it off real quick and I'll show you what condition the lens is in. it looks pretty decent. I mean, here's the lens there. You can see it's a fast lens. It's a 1.4 lens, and basically you use this wheel, or you can turn the barrel to focus here, and you just kind of look through there. There's a rangefinder window there. So it took me an extensive amount of time in TLC to get it to look this good. But I'll show you some of the accessories I bought with it. I went on eBay and I bought like a lens shade. This is kind of a lens shade, and it screws on. I usually don't have it on the camera unless I'm going to use it, because I bought I found a little inexpensive carrying case here to it at Goodwill. I think for like $4 or whatever. But I have some other things. I do have a camera. I did find this case, Goodwill. This was kind of expensive item. It's in halfway decent shape. It was kind of like the ever-ready case. This is the part bottom goes in. The top has some condition issues. This is the top. Some of the, you can see maybe the threads are, I had to have that restitched or something. It's in pretty decent shape. I actually went over it with like shoe polish or whatever to make it look halfway decent. So, but this is a manual camera, and I doesn't have any kind of meter on it. But I did find a vintage Leica meter that reads the same shutter speeds, if you can see that. And this works. It works perfectly. But these earlier cameras, this is the same. This Nikon S is the same as a German Contax, if you know what that is. And the shutter speeds are kind of different. They weren't the standard increments. These had shutter speeds like 1/200th of a second, 1/50th of a second, and which this meter does have increments for. So pretty soon I'll probably try that with a black and white film. So it might be a while before I see how well that one works. But gotta say, it's a pretty awesome find. May never find something this cool again, you know. I mean, these things are going on eBay for $400 to $600, you know, depending on condition. So that was the Nikon S. Some other things oddball things sometimes I find. This was like a kind of a self timer that screws onto cameras that don't have built-in self timers. This screws into the threaded shutter release, and this has what they call this nipple. This is like a Leica nipple or whatever. In fact, it goes with this Nikon. It screws on there so that this can activate it or whatever. So, like I said, some pretty awesome finds here, and I'm not making this to brag or nothing, but I want to encourage people, you know, comb those thrift stores and hopefully they find some diamonds in the rough here, you know, especially if you're looking for a camera, or like I said, maybe, you know, maybe if you're lucky, you might buy, if you're going like Craigslist, maybe you'll find someone like me, hopefully, who has gone over this stuff and actually used it, reconditioned it, and if you're, you know, and then they want to like sell it, but of course they're going to sell it for what it's worth, you know, but at least you're going to get something that you know works, you know. Whereas there's so many people on eBay, they just kind of find something at an estate sale and then they want to just flip it, you know, and whether it works or not. So with that, I'll say goodbye for now, and good luck if you're looking for some good vintage cameras and photo equipment. So with that, I'll say goodbye for now. Bye.